So, again, to give context, this was an idea that came up. I had a walkthrough at a hotel. It's called the Jones Hotel here in Chicago. As I'm walking through, doing my thing, taking pictures, I come across the janitor closet. So intuitively, I'm like, hey, can you show me the closet? I always want to see the closet at all the walkthroughs so we could take a picture. He's like, oh, no, this is not a closet. This is a speakeasy bar. I'm like, speakeasy bar? What do you mean? He's like, well, here, opens the door. It's a bar inside the old closet of the hotel. It was pretty big. I was impressed. Usually we get this, shorter than a stick. We don't have a big closet. But literally Clorox bottles, the mop heads, everything is still on the walls. And then they had a little bar. So I just presented the idea to the hotel manager. I'm like, I'm thinking of a name, and it's Cleaning and Cocktails. I'm like, could I have a podcast here in person? I've never done this before. I mean, would you mind? He's like, dude, no, sure. I mean, it only fits like 6 people though. Like, don't bring more than 6 people. We literally had 6 people in there. So we went there again. I have no idea what I'm doing. Jesus was not a part of the team back then. As he would say, the quality is better now. But we were winging it. These guys have never been on a podcast either. We're like, they entrusted in me to just, let's wing it, man. Let's just have some fun. Let's just shoot the content. And why I thought it's funny that 4 years later, we're still good friends. We're on text message threads. We're sharing, we bust each other's chops all the time, but you talk about where you could look at us as competitors in Chicago, but we're all different walks of life. We all focus on different businesses and clientele, but yet we're the first to share immediate tips and tricks. And like, what are you using? I don't know, what are you using? Hey, how did you handle this policy?
And successes and failures too.
Yeah, successes and failures, which is what we're gonna talk about, right? Like, I just say all that because you guys we should be a community. We should have threads. We should be talking to each other. Again, yes, we compete many times, but I'll tell you, like, in all honesty, you guys, like, have we been to more than maybe 1 or 2 walkthroughs at the same time ever?
No.
So Mark, we're gonna start with you. I'm gonna let you guys introduce yourselves, but
okay.
Mark Batista from Citywide. Have it.
So I'm Mark Batista with Citywide Building Maintenance. We are a janitorial maintenance company here in Illinois. We've been here for 42 years. I'm second generation. My father started the company, and we're still going strong. So we are not affiliated with the franchise Citywide. I'm just going to throw that out there because people are going to think maybe we are, but we aren't.
Juan Padilla. I own Spotless Cleaning Chicago, so I started the business 13, 14 years ago. And we're a local provider. We service from Northwest Indiana to Southern Wisconsin. So we're pretty similar to Mark, but the interesting thing is we're in slightly different verticals. He does a lot of schools. We focus mostly on private, which, we do run across some stuff together, but, slightly different verticals.
And then my name is Saul Marchan, owner of Blue Cleaning here in Chicago. I've been in business for over 10 years, and we focus more on specialized cleaning services, so one-off projects. Just happy to be here, man. Happy to reconnect.
Thank you. Well, you guys also, so these 2 are my partners in the janitorial store and my house cleaning business. We own that together as well. And then these 2 gentlemen also have a software, if you want to share a little bit about that.
Yeah, just briefly, Bluberry basically is a AI-focused ERP operations management system. And really what it is focused on the obstacles that face, our fellow business owners, right, on a daily basis. And so our AI engine that we dubbed ABE really is to give back information, right, so that we can make better growth-focused decisions and understand the true story of our business.
Pretty cool, talking about AI today. And then Mark, I want to end with you real quick on, not only do you do janitorial, but you also now offer maintenance services.
So when I was fortunate enough and we kind of met, we've been in the janitorial space all along, and we kind of just said, what else can we offer to be a total facility solution provider? And the opportunity came along. We kind of turned the page and we started Alliance Building Services, which is everything but cleaning. So it's painting, plumbing, electrical build outs, and we're doing some really big stuff here in Illinois, Wisconsin, and Indiana. So it's been great. It's all run by family, which can be great or not great at times. But we've been fortunate enough to work with great people, and we're just keep on going.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, guys, that's a little bit about them, right? And what I want to dig into, because again, I want to get to the networking and the cocktails as well, but I do want to share a couple things in like almost like a where are they now type of thing is what I want to do here, right? I didn't give them too much questions because I don't really like to prep anybody. I just like to let's have some good, honest conversation. So 4 years ago, where were we back then, each one of you? So we'll start with you. Like, where were you then with what you're doing today? Obviously, you're launching the software, buying into other things. Like, where's Blue Cleaning today to where you were?
Yeah, so for the last 4 years, I mean, we've grown about 80%, so up 70%, so a little less than 20% on average year over year. We did purchase a building, our headquarters, recently. We're waiting for permits from the city. But
Good luck.
it's been a challenge, but we'll get there. But yeah, so what we've done is we focused even more on the specialized sector. Again, for us, it's more the power washing, the carpet cleanings, mold, odor. And so we've gone all in and really, I know talking about client profiles, so we've gone all in with property management groups because that's really our client profile right now. And so we've been able to basically also create a great affiliate partnership with a lot of our fellow business owners that have helped us grow throughout those years. So we're pretty excited. Next 3 to 5 years, same, right? 40, 50% growth, obviously utilizing technology and just the products that are out there now with the equipment, right? Building efficiency out there with our crews. So looking great.
Juan, what about you?
I would say from ending 2019, kind of around when we met, to now we're probably close to double in size. And it's been a very interesting growth time frame. I think these last 4 years have probably been the busiest ever for me, probably worse than when I first started the business. And I would say, just trying to think back, right? We had COVID, and when COVID happened, we're all focused on disinfecting. How do we disinfect? How do we protect ourselves from a liability? How do we best do this? We're all trying to figure out what the best things were on the fly, and we're all sharing information with each other. And so that was great. Obviously, as anyone that was doing electrostatic spraying knows, it was pretty good business. The challenge with that is you did it for about 2 years, and then that revenue went away. So you had to quickly replace that revenue with contracts again, but then places were shut down. So it's like, I would say for me, it was very challenging. And so we did okay, but it was probably the hardest 4 years of my life, I would say. I think now I'm starting to get back into like business as usual again. And now I'm just trying to figure out like, what do we do to increase the bottom line? Because COVID went away, so margins are getting thin again. So it's like, how do we get healthy margins again? So for us, it's like we started adding painting services. I've actually lost a couple accounts because someone else came in and said that they could do total facility management. So I said, all right, no more. We're doing total facility management. So now we have our own in-house painters. We'll do roofing, we'll do whatever, right? And so, I think it's good to have multiple services because you become a little stickier, right? So, and again, it's another profit center. So,
4 years ago, we have one hell of a MySpace page. So we're up here talking about AI and all the advancements in technology and things like that. And I come from sort of an old school environment, with my dad starting the company and him.
So your dad still hasn't given it up to you?
I mean, we work together every day. I mean, he is in a position where, I look at it as we get the opportunity to do this. Some people don't have that opportunity, and it truly is a blessing and a curse sometimes, But in the beginning of COVID, before COVID, we were very manual with all of our processes as far as quote automation, management of clients and things like that. And we really turned the page in 2020, right around the time COVID came out, with automating our quote process and really firing out quotes using apps and things like that. And that's where we really started to grow.
Nice. So something I like to do on the show, you guys, is get real, get intimate, right? We talk about peaks and valleys, everything on social media you hear it's always the positives, it's the good things, right? Which is supposed to be. You're supposed to celebrate your wins and all the positivity. But I wanted to get real, right, and talk about some valleys, you know, not just the peaks, but like, so can you share in the past 4 years, like a moment where you were up against the wall and you're like, do I stay in this industry? Do I stay with this business?
And there was quite a few. But I think the biggest one for me was, obviously, I'll speak for myself, I think yourself, obviously, we start with family, right? And so that's what kind of got us to a certain level. And I would say at the end of 2022, basically my family was leaving, right? It was just that time to part ways. And so, you know, you've had this upper management team for quite some time. And now you had to really build your team, right? They always say, hey, don't look for your team, start building it. And so that was a reality check for me because I had to promote basically our internal team, and they're young people. I mean, you're talking mid-20s, right? Mid to late 20s. So I caught myself going from a CEO to a mentor, right? With guidance and teaching about business. You know, kind of to your point, right? Being real, transparency. And I'll tell you what, those first 6 months were crucial because things weren't looking good. So I remember my accountant team, they're like, Saul, your overhead is high. You're gonna have to. I'm like, nope, we're gonna
You don't hear
right
that, right? Like, I'm not firing anybody.
Yeah, I'm not letting people go, exactly, right? Because that's not the point. And so we right the ship. And so, you know, after 6 months, I mean, our revenue started growing. But that was hard. Those first 6 months were hard because it was one of those where like, man, I'm going back to square one, right? I got to do it all myself. And so one of the best quotes I ever heard is, you stick to being a CEO. If you're a CEO of a company, you stick to being a CEO. And that's what I did. I delegated, I trained, I had to go out in the field, oversaw exactly all the SOPs again, making sure that everything was working consistently. And so that was tough. And we still have some challenges today. Don't get me wrong, right? No one's perfect, but we're definitely a lot better off than I thought we were going to be. So that was tough. And now we started with family. Now there's no family. So,
yeah. It's tough.
So now
it's tough, but it's also, I mean, it's evolution. It's evolution.
Correct. Yep.
Juan, what about you?
Man, I think going back into, again, last 4 years, 2019, I think for me it was just, I think the typical growth pains that, but again, I think COVID kind of masked a lot of it, right? Is I want to say again, around that time I was around 6.5 or 7 mil maybe, and so, you know, everyone talks about, you know, you can do a lot of things when you're up to $1 million, then from $1 million to 5, you want to have a couple key players. But when you're trying to go from 5 to 10, if you don't have good leaders in place, good systems in place, then things just kind of, you know, start to break down, especially if everyone's relying on you, right? Like it becomes extremely tough to go from 5 to 10. And so again, for me, it's like we had COVID in the mix. And so it's like you have all this additional revenue from COVID, and then you're trying to replace all that. And then you're trying to build a team when it's extremely hard because, you know, labor is tough. And so again, I think those things made it challenging, and I think COVID masked all that. But when I think back on it, it's like, man, that was a lot of work to try and, you know, implement, like Mark said, right? We're implementing HubSpot, implementing, you know, Proposify to do proposals, or, you know, or some stuff with, you know, with Route. And then you're trying to build a team, and again, right, at that point, you're trying to build leaders, right? You're trying to build people that can make decisions without you, and you're trying to, you know, tell people like, hey, don't come to me, don't ask me for, you know, if this is right or not, right? Like, you know, the decision is yours to own, right? And so that's a big shift to make, I think, especially for us. I think now when I think back on it, it's like, well, now things just happen on their own. People know what they need to do. They have certain processes they follow, so it's like they don't really need me. But again, thinking back a couple years ago, it's like every decision was like, you know, it's like, hey, is this okay? Hey, is this okay? And it's like, man, I'm having to be involved in every single thing. And so it's like, how do I separate myself from all of it, right? So,
Mark.
Yeah. Well,
You look like you had a lot of valleys. You had a lot of valleys?
Me?
And that was a roller coaster?
It's a different situation than I'm in, obviously, because these guys built everything that they had, and I came into somewhat of a framed environment where I had to kind of learn how to operate and shut up when I needed to. So that's always important, you know. But I think one of the biggest obstacles that we faced, and I've been president of the company for 12 years now, and I've been working in the company since I was heavy enough to be the weight on top of the buffing machine, you know. And trust me, I'm heavy enough. So the biggest valley that we faced was our controller retired, and in the eyes of anyone who owns a business in here that has a controller for 15 plus years, that is a huge void to fill. And it just so happened that I kept in touch with a client that used to be an ops manager, run the church, and hire the cleaning service. He was also a CPA. So we just kept in touch, and we had lunch at Panera one day, and it just made sense. And you know, he's been on for almost 2 years now, and it was a scary time, but things are running unbelievably smooth. You know, and we have our past controller, he retired. He was great, and the new one is doing even better.
Nice, nice. Because you got to get through it, right? That's the whole point of the
transition.
There is a peak.
And also there's investment, right? So, you know, we carried 2 controllers for 15 months while he was phasing out, and we didn't want to rush, we didn't want to force. And when he was ready, Willie left last December, and Dave came in, and Dave's been just awesome. Totally different character, and he's great.
Nice, nice. So now, other side, flip side, the happy stuff, right? Like, Saul, peaks. Share a moment. I mean, just real quick, so you guys know, everybody thinks our social media game is good. I learned a lot of stuff that we're doing from Saul Blue Cleaning. If you guys go to their social media page, like, I learned a lot from their tactics, but what I learned is you had a lot of your team involved in the social media. It wasn't like an agency or an owner your team was involved. I mean, not that I want to take that as your peak, but like, that was fun to watch you do that, man.
Yeah, it was, and you know, we got busy and
because you're still a small company, right?
Yeah, we fell off a bit on the social media part, but we're starting to get back in. Yeah, I think real quickly on the social media part, I just remember a buddy of mine was just like, "Hey, just throw stuff out there, right? And just every day, whatever you guys are doing, just show it."
He's wearing a splash pin.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's blue. We make a splash. So we always talk about clients always, hey, making an impact. So that's what we do, right? We're like the wave coming in,
That's
and when
awesome.
it hits the surface, right, it's making an impact. So, but peaks, because Juan's here. You know, we had an opportunity to clean about 530 bus shelters here in the Chicagoland area and suburbs. Never done that. But one of the things that one of our other partners, founders, Caesar, said is, hey, operations.
Yeah,
Right?
Doesn't matter.
And so I remember calling Juan. I go, I'm gonna need your help, man. I said, I think this is probably about $250,000, a year contract that we can get. And through Juan's help, because he's obviously goes after some of these larger firms and understands the operational structure and cost, and we got it. I mean, with his help, we got it.
Again, competitors.
And so and that's
but
collaboration.
But not competitors. Collaboration.
Yeah. And so that was awesome, right? Learning from Juan and just seeing that, and I'm like, man, maybe we should go after these bigger accounts. Something Juan, but the beauty of it is that the client, when they called us, was like, "Are you sure you can do this?" And we're like, "Yeah, I mean, it's operations. We'll figure it out, right?" But it really gave us confidence, right? Because 520 shelters that span probably about 60 to 80 miles from one end of the city to Harvard, Illinois. Yeah, exactly. So at one point we had Caesar, was one of our partners, said we had him coding, just trying to map out the routes. And so, but that was awesome, and it gave us full confidence about going after some of these bigger accounts, bigger opportunities, and that account actually gave us even more specialized work, hazardous cleanups and stuff like that. So
nice.
That was awesome, just collaborating with Juan and getting us that.
But Caesar helped you optimize the routes using some of the AI that's already in the software, right? Or?
Correct. Yeah. So that's basically what we're doing right now is optimizing, streamlining, automation, and what that's done for us. It's just clients really want to see your operations now. They don't really care, at least from what we've seen, especially at that level, is they want to see exactly how you're going to operate and how you came up with the plan, right? And so when we came up with the plan, visibility, transparency, and when we showed them that, that's what opened up the doors to more opportunities.
Because you can handle it.
Correct. Yep. And so technology, software is basically what's going to get you to that next level. And so that's what it's done for us, especially in the specialized sector.
So let's talk about Juan's peak. You guys ever hear of GameStop? Like you saw that GameStop, AMC. You guys heard about all that, right? You know, we've got a cleaning business owner here who it was funny, Juan, when we were on that text chain.
You remember the text with
dude,
the champagne?
So I was like,
you remember?
Juan to do it because he's very, very knowledgeable in the finance industry. And, you know, I know we don't talk about that much, Juan, but like we were going to Juan. I was like, Juan, should I buy in right now? He's like, the fact that you're texting me about buying in, I'm out. Like, he's like, you knowing is not good. That means I'm out about it. But I joke aside, but that was fun to watch him do what he did with that. Just because, again, we're cleaning business
We're all
owners.
talking on a Friday morning. What's everybody doing? Juan's got a glass of champagne with his feet up on the couch like that. I go, well, I don't think Juan's going to the office today.
So I'm not joking. I know that's a peak, but talk about in the industry peaks, man, for you.
Oh man, you know, I think along the way, I think anytime you take on a bigger account that just seems hard to do, and you're able to take it on and service them, and then not only do you just take it on, but you know, a lot of times when the client is just extremely happy and no one has ever done this for us or things like that, I think along the way, right, you have multiple of those, right? I remember years ago when we first started, you know, we were doing 3 times a week accounts, and so the thought of doing a 5-day account was scary, right? And so now the thought of doing a 3-day account is scary. Right? Like, you know, so, and I think the really nice thing, I think for me, like the peaks really are like whenever my team actually, now for me, it's more like whenever my team does something, you know, really well, right? It's like, you know, what are we doing? What is the team doing? And when these things happen without you, right? So, I mean, just today I was reviewing some of our, you know, because I always like to review how much add-on services we did for the month or whatever. And in May, I know we were looking at it, you know, sometime in the 20-something of the month, and we were like around $80,000 in, you know, add-on work for May. And I was reviewing it earlier today, and we ended up like at $125,000. I was like, damn, like that's pretty awesome.
You had nothing to do with that.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with that. And I was like, oh, I thought we were going to end around 80, and we ended up at 125. So again, right, like it's like, to me, that excites me because it's my team who's doing that, right? So, you know, they're out there, they're selling it, they're scheduling it, they're getting everything done, right? So, and those are, you know, those things are important, right? Because they're making those, like by you empowering them, by you giving them the tools, you know, they're making all those right decisions, and they're making them better than you, because you as a business owner, for me, especially, it's like you get busy, right? Like I'm here today, I'm not on my phone. You know, you're the bottleneck, right? Because they might be waiting on me for an answer otherwise, right? So, you know, them having the right pricing tool, them understanding, you know, what are our margins, them performing that job costing afterwards. And so that's usually what we review, right? We're reviewing what was our revenue and add-on work, and what were our margins, right? Because without job costing, you think you're doing well, but you're not, right? So, and that's usually what I find, for example, is like, it's actually pretty funny now. Every now and then, like it'll be a customer who calls and says, oh yeah, you guys did this work for us 4 years ago. And they'll call me up and it's like, hey, we're running through the calculator and it says, we got to quote this thing for $5,000, but I see we did it for about $3,000. And I'm like, oh, that was probably me. I just guessed.
I just guessed.
You know? So I'm like 5,000 is probably right. And so, you know, but again, right, it's like, again, as business owners, we always think we know best.
Instinct.
But, you know, the reality is, you know, do it the right way, and you give them the tools, and they're going to do it the right way. So, you know, you take the guessing out of it. So.
Yeah, Mark.
I really think the biggest peak for us has been the relationships that have been gained through, well, number one, our friendship since we started this thing. I mean, and just relationships that have been gained through ISSA, BSCAI. You know, 4 years ago we were not in 9 states, and we are now. So, you know, we're partnering with other people in order to, you know, satisfy our customers' need, and everyone is making out because of it. You know, they're doing well. So really the relationships also that have been built within our office, because there has been more change than just our controller position. You guys know Mike. Mike came in and he's been unbelievable. You know,
He's your peak.
I mean,
No.
he's
He's
a
awesome.
great guy, and also, you know, my assistant Alejandra, she runs the office, and she's come in and she's been fantastic too.
So Matt, so I'm gonna answer this one to then go to you guys, because then I want to wrap up. Let's get to the networking. But I wanted to end with again another like give and a tactic, something somebody could take right now, go back to their business, use and implement. Because a lot of times we come to these things, these events, these networking and business conferences, and you hear a lot of stuff, but like you can't really take it back and do something with it. Like everybody's in their world. What can I take back? So I want to talk about tactics. One tactic I would share with everybody is, you touched on it, is ISSA, BSCI, you know, Cleaning and Cocktails. There's another company, Cleaning and Profits, right? There's a lot of newer events that are happening in our space where cleaning company owners go, network, collaborate, connect, and build off each other. Like you said, you're in 9 states. I'm in 27 states. I am not in 27 states because I just looked up in a yellow book to be there. Our clients took us there, but then I met my partners at these events, right? You think about where you have an opportunity, but you're like, I can't do it because I'm not in that state. That's an excuse. You could be there if you had the right connections and the right network. I could operate in 50 states tomorrow if I wanted to, because I know people in 50 states. So my tactic to everybody is like, embrace your community and your network, because it's powerful. I mean, you know, us together can compete with a lot of the larger enterprise companies because they're doing it anyways. They're just going at it differently, where we can go at it together, right? Shameless plug of my motto is stronger together. But so we'll talk about a tactic that you guys have done that you've seen it's unlocked something.
You know, I think for us, we're talking technology here. I think it's really data and analytics, right? For us, we've gone in and really gone to the foundation piece of our business and truly finding out exactly who we are. In our industry, it's growing at about 3 to 5% every year, right? But our margins are also dipping, if not even more. Mm-hmm. And so there's a huge disconnect there, right? And so for us, it's, okay, we need to figure this out, right? Because in order for our company to keep growing and maintaining margins, we have to educate and train our team really intentionally. And so what we've done is we've actually really mentored and started coaching up our team and understanding costs, right? Numbers. Everybody needs to understand numbers. We're a numbers company first, right? Cleaning services second. If your numbers,
people can't matter if your numbers aren't right to hire and promote and give them raises.
And they need to see those numbers, right? Because then they'll buy into your mission, vision, and so forth. So for us, through obviously our platform, Bluberry is always data and analytics. And now, because of that, our team is thinking as owners now.
Yeah.
They're entrepreneurs in their own right, and that's what we really try to spread as far as the message is concerned. So that's really a tactic for us, is really in terms of just understanding your business in and out.
Yeah. Juan, what about you?
Oh man, what can someone take away? Well, I think being part of groups like BSCI, ISSA, you know, I met Jason, I can see here in Bahamas, right, 2 years ago, and his sister as well. And then I met, Dan, who's here somewhere. I can't see him because of the lights, in Texas. And so, I learned a lot from him about the subcontracting model, right? So I think, to Ricky's point, there's a lot of resources here. And so don't feel like you're alone. People will share and they'll help you out. But I would say, for everyone to really just take the time to go through the respective websites, whether that's ISSA, BSCI, purchase their books, purchase their programs, and really dive in, right? Like ISSA has data on, 3 minutes a fixture for a bathroom, right? So there's 10 fixtures, that's 30 minutes, right? So instead of guessing how long things are gonna take, learn how to use that data, watch your team do it, maybe you do it, you try to hit those metrics, train your team how to do those things, and things can become pretty scientific and pretty easy to do. BSCI has a great book on how to bid, a Highrise, how to provide credit for vacant spaces, things to look out. They have like a checklist at the end of the book of all the things that you should be looking at. Like, are you workloading properly? Are you revisiting things to see if they're still occupied, right? Are you fine-tuning, retuning your accounts? There's so much really good information in some of those books, and some of that stuff is really old. Like, I know that book is, I don't know, probably from the 80s,
relevant.
but it's
got
extremely
ashtrays
relevant.
in it.
But like it literally talks about, like, if you're going over by 5 minutes, per cleaner, and you have X amount of cleaners, that's costing you $100,000. If it's 10 minutes, it's $200,000. So again, there's so much information that's already out there, and you can just find it easily on the websites. So things like that are really important. And then I would really say the other thing is making sure you bring your team to these events, because when you're telling your team something, it's like when your parents are telling you something, it goes in one ear out the other. So one thing I've learned is I try to tell them less
you
these
bring
days.
your team everywhere.
And now I try to take my team and have them go, because now it's no longer, what did I say? I'm like, what did Dan say? What did Coach Michael Bird say? Right? And so it's, it's different when they hear from other people. Right?
I don't bring my team anywhere.
Yeah.
Nobody sees my black
We don't
shirts.
see your logos anywhere.
You don't see our black shirts anywhere.
Yeah, but again, it's, that stuff is really good, and it's empowering to them. And again, right, like, as you want to grow, you have to have your leadership team there with you, right? And at the end of the day, you want them to know more than you do anyway. So,
Mark,
I think when it all comes down to it, you win with people, right? And when you look to your left and you look to your right, there's someone in this room that you can learn from, whether they're older than you, whether they're younger than you, whether they have 20 years in the business or 20 days in the business. They may know something about AI that you don't know, and Jason might know something about stripping a floor that you definitely don't know. So, never burn a bridge, keep the doors open, and help each other. You never know what someone else is going through in their business to try to make ends meet. What we do is not easy, and sometimes it can feel easy, but it's not until we kind of remove ourselves and let our teams really go to work and really make things work that we see where we need to make improvements and win with the people we have.
Yep. This is a very challenging industry, but I see that as an opportunity, right? Like, again, 52% of cleaning business owners fail after the first year, right? So think about it, there's 52,000 cleaning companies that start every year, especially since COVID. But it's a craft. This is a craft. We have to treat it like a craft. We are a trade, right? Like when we show up on sites, we're one of the trade services too. So respect what we do. This is, I love this industry, as you can tell. But I want to say cheers to you guys. Cheers soon to you. Everybody here will have a cocktail soon. So cheers to you guys. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate everybody here.